Alright, welcome to Foundation. We're going to do a more relaxed build with some custom settings and try out creative mode a bit. Started out with figuring out some map seeds. I like the coastal maps and a little bit of flat ground to work on, so I played with a few here. Once I played with the sliders a bit, I started swapping through the seeds until I found something I liked. I wanted to play in creative mode, but keep a few things like happiness, army, and the cosmetic construction on, but really opening the map up with all the upgraded trade routes, all the unlockables, and all the territories open from the start. I really like this Heraldry builder, but I wish you could do some more custom colors. Some of these don't always play well with each other, or they're a little more faded than I would like, but overall, I think it's a great system. I just wish I had a little more control with the colors. I wanted to go with something high contrast and a little silly, not so classic medieval looking. You get way too picky with color selection. It's the curse of being a graphic designer, I think. I can't just pick a couple of colors and move on with my life. I really like the random names they have here. I can never think of stuff on my own, so finding something like Mosswick sounded really good. And Frederick of Mosswick, and we're off. I found a starting location pretty close to the water. I like to build within the trees to give myself a bit of a guideline, so I'm not just building randomly, trying to find spaces that people would actually start building in. Based off of the environment they're in and kind of respecting the topography. So I got started here with some of the first essentials, and I'm going to jump in and out at time lapses and a little bit of cinematic footage and kind of walking you through what I'm doing as I'm doing it, but also be a lot of just time to chill and sit back and watch a little medieval city grow right in front of you. The nice thing about playing in this custom mode is having access to all the privileges and edicts from the beginning, so I went through and picked a couple of the ones I thought would be beneficial to get it going on a bit of a quicker start. I really like the classic default game, but I really wanted to get moving and try to get to some of the mid and late game stuff a little sooner. This is maybe my 5th or 6th city that I've kind of played around with since the 1.0 release. I didn't really play much of the game in early access. I did way back, but since the 1.0 release, I've really dove in hard. I really like the concept of having this manor house be kind of up on a hill, kind of overlooking the city. I've seen a few other people playing with some higher level castles and monasteries and stuff up on hills, so I really wanted to lean into that. So I started building up here so that this manor house can get a nice view over the peasants below them, feeding them all the tax money. One thing I really wanted to take advantage of in the creative mode was upgrading the buildings as early as possible, so I try to take advantage of all the things that are available to me with the creative mode settings so that I can get this stuff really upgraded as soon as possible. Another thing I really wanted to take advantage of was starting to get trade going earlier than normal. There's a lot of things you can't really start trading till a little later that you're already producing. Things like berries and meat and hogs. There's just some things that you're really not able to trade until you unlock either the second or third trade route that I wanted to really be able to get ahead on, starting to get traded now. The blueprint system is also great in this game overall, but especially being able to do it with more things unlocked earlier, you can really plan ahead, which is a lot of fun to think a little farther down the road about what you're going to have where, as opposed to just kind of having it on the fly, dropping it in where you can fit it. I love the natural road building system in this game, but I like to have a little control and try to make them look a little more natural. They kind of take everything in a straight line, so I found that if you guide them a bit, you can really get some better looking roads. Here's another example of a straight pathway that I thought, even though it's a flat meadow, it would look a little better with some more natural looking curves in it. This is a subtle one, but there's some other times where you really can kind of get them looking like they're zigzagging up a hill in a more natural way. I also wanted to make this entrance to the town a little more prominent so they're not walking through people's yards and the main entrance to get in there. So I just wanted to move these houses and limit the where the houses are built just a little bit there. Here's a great example of the way people wouldn't really walk up a hill super straight, so I wanted to add some curve into the pathway up to the main house. There's definitely something weird going on with this fishing hut. The little arrow that lets him go out of the boat has been red the whole time, and I'm not really sure why. No matter where I moved it, it stayed red and inaccessible. There's clearly, like, you can see the fish jumping right in front of it, so I'm not really sure what was going on. I tried moving it a couple times, but it didn't really do much, so ultimately I just ended up deleting it. I do like keeping the farming away from the city. I think trying to keep that kind of stuff realistic is part of why I like playing without the territories being locked. I get that that's part of the gameplay challenge, but having everything so crammed in together just doesn't feel very realistic to me. So I wanted to make sure that I put them in a place where they can kind of sit out on their own and have space and keep the buildings in town that manufacture their goods next to other ones that are making other stuff for the citizens. I noticed here they were walking around my forbidden area, so I had to extend it a little bit. I appreciate that they were intuitive enough to make their own way, but this is not a democracy, so please color within the lines. Definitely the earliest I've been able to implement any of the security and making sure that they all have the needs they want to be able to get the houses upgraded earlier. So I don't think I've been able to access this stuff the way I've been playing so far until I have a population well over 100 or so, if not more. And even with this little population, I wanted to pack as much in as I could. I've been kind of sprawling stuff out pretty far in my other builds, and then when everything gets compacted and the buildings get bigger and they can hold more residents, I have found myself with a lot of really just big empty buildings, so I'm trying to keep these buildings more compact and fewer and upgraded sooner so that I can keep all of them full. Again, I wanted to sell a lot of the stuff I could as early as I could. Most of the stuff I haven't been able to sell this early in my playthrough, so it's nice to get a jump on it. I also wanted to mark some of the stuff I would be producing sooner than later as a favorite so that it would show up in the top resource menu. That way I could keep an eye on the things that I know will be coming along soon and can sell them before I was normally been ready to. Also wanted to bump my taxes up here a little bit sooner than I could and promote a couple more citizens so that I could make even more money off of their sad, labor-driven lives. And then reach more into their pockets to levy their coins. The more money they make, the more money I make. One of the other reasons I wanted to play in creative mode is just to be able to be that creative. I haven't had the money or the time, or I've been focusing on actually trying to keep everyone happy and haven't been able to focus on actually having some nice layout and some detailed stuff, so I wanted to be able to get a little of that going earlier than later. So it was nice to give this church a big, nice open space and some fences, and I'll be adding even more detail to it as we go. Started building this nice big fancy fence before I realized how many polished stones it took and that I didn't have them, so I had to go back to just a regular stone wall here in a minute, and then I'll upgrade a little later. Even though I have everything unlocked, I'm trying not to get too ahead of myself with what I have access to. Since I already have a church and labor, I'll let myself have those privileges, but I'm not going to dive into the military or castle privileges until I actually start building the castle. That way there's still a little bit of progression, but I'm able to take advantage of some of these early perks a little sooner than normal. Alright, well, that's going to be it for this episode. I think we got a pretty good start. This is the farthest I've gotten in about an hour and a half of actual gameplay, so we'll let some of these houses upgrade and some new people move in, and then we'll get moving on to some of the more of the mid-game stuff in the next episode coming soon. See you then.